This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news.
The housing crisis is a growing challenge impacting people around the world. In many developed countries, there just aren't enough homes to go around, and the ones that are available are becoming far too expensive for the average person. Even with proposed solutions like building more homes, introducing rent caps, and offering subsidized housing, the problem persists.
The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development says in the last decade, housing prices rose 54% in the U.S., 32% in China, and nearly 15% in the European Union, with 26% in Spain. In big cities, rents have doubled in some cases. The 2024 National Low-Income Housing Coalition report shows the U.S. is short 7.3 million affordable rental homes for the lowest income renters. Across the pond in the United Kingdom, the situation is just as troubling, with thousands of families living in temporary housing and many others stuck in poorly maintained homes with no alternatives.
We should have a social housing program on the scale that we were able to manage after the Second World War. If we were building 150,000 homes a year, the problem would very quickly be resolved. In addition, I think we need to end the right to buy. They've done it in Scotland, they've done it in Wales. So, what on the face of it seems like a nice idea actually undermines the whole system of social housing because it means that the housing stock is depleted. And the third part is that I think, while at the same time building loads of social housing, we need to have rent controls. Clearly, housing is one of the principal drivers of our economy, and I think that's where the problem lies. It's commodified, and it's seen in terms of balance sheets rather than basic infrastructure. And I think, in a city as wealthy as London, there shouldn't be 7,000 people living on the pavement. Ultimately, politicians have to commit a lot more money to social housing.
This crisis didn't happen overnight. It's been decades in the making, starting in the late 20th century when public housing construction slowed dramatically. Aging public housing was often neglected, torn down, or sold off without being replaced. Then came the financial crash of 2008, which brought construction to a standstill and sent prices soaring, especially in growing cities. Urban economic growth only made things worse, sparking gentrification and fierce competition for homes. Adding to the issue is the way housing is shifted from being a basic human need to a financial investment. At the same time, wages haven't kept up with the rising costs of rent and home ownership, leaving many struggling to afford a place to live. In the European Union, rents rose 20% between 2010 and 2022, with purchase prices up 48%. According to Eurostat, an organization for economic cooperation and development, many renters spend more than 40% of their income on housing, particularly in the U.S. and Spain. Different countries approach social housing in various ways, with some achieving greater success than others.
Tokyo has been called the world's last big city with affordable housing. And that's not a coincidence, but a result of a unique Japanese approach to urban planning. The way Tokyo remains affordable is by simply building a lot more housing than other cities. Houses in Japan are not built to last, and so most houses have a pretty short lifespan of about 30 years, after which they are usually demolished, and something else is built in their place, which means that the housing market is much more flexible and adapts much better to the current demand. Japanese zoning laws encourage mixed-use zones, meaning that you can have different kinds of housing in one neighborhood. And as a result, Japanese zoning is able to use space a lot more efficiently and build a lot of housing in relatively small areas. But the bottom line is that by building so much, Tokyo manages to remain affordable for everyone, and it demonstrates that housing crises are not inevitable.
Some countries have launched public housing programs, but experts say these efforts will fall short without better regional planning. Community land trusts have emerged as a promising solution to address the housing crisis and provide affordable housing options for communities in need. These nonprofits buy land and remove it from the expensive real estate market, leasing it out instead of selling it outright. The homes built on this land stay affordable over the long term, helping low and middle income families. Public-private partnerships are another approach, where governments team up with private developers to build and manage affordable housing. In these arrangements, the government might provide land or tax incentives, while private companies handle the construction and maintenance. Cheaper materials, faster construction methods, and mobile housing units are also being explored as ways to make homes more affordable.
We have over 60,000 homeless in LA County. The new mayor wants to put 17,000 units in a year. You cannot do it traditional ways. You have to look at solutions like ours. Say, well, where are the properties? So LAX owns property. There are some schools around LA that might be closing. They still own large properties. So you could, again, use our units. They look nice so that neighbors will not be opposed. And then 10 years down the road, if demographics change, the school can get back in business. You could move our units somewhere else.
The housing crisis is undeniably complex, but it's not unsolvable. To truly address it, we need to treat housing as a basic right and focus on long-term strategies. This means building more homes, promoting affordable housing initiatives, exploring rent controls, and tackling income inequality. With the right policies and planning, there's hope that everyone can have a safe, stable place to call home.
Vriebig Ice Cream Shop is a popular gelato destination in Fuerteventura, Spain. It's renowned for making homemade organic treats. UNN Field Messenger Emma shares their innovative techniques.
Hi, this is Emma, Field Messenger for UNN, reporting from Fuerteventura in Spain.
High quality gelato. Gelato is the name used for Italian ice cream. It is supposed to be freshly made, soft and tasty. These are the qualities that people are looking for when they visit Vriebig ice cream on Fuerteventura in Spain. It is the ice cream place on Fuerteventura in the north of Fuerteventura with the best rating on TripAdvisor, which is where the tourists go and look for places to visit when they go on holiday here. Vriebig ice cream has the best ice cream and the best ice cream equipment, in my opinion. They are called vertical ice cream machines. When you have them installed in the shop like Vriebig has, they can serve fresh ice cream at any time. These machines makes the ice cream with vertical movements that presses the ice cream down. This does not allow the air to get into the ice cream, and it becomes a little bit denser and has a more intense flavor, which is super delicious. The investment in these machines makes a big difference. The quality is different from the other ice cream places, where most of them actually mixes powder from buckets in different flavors to make ice cream. At Vriebig, all their ice creams are organic and made in the shop with the real ingredients. They also make their own homemade ice cream cones. They make all the ice cream cones in the shop and with their own recipe. Vriebig Ice Cream Shop has the best quality ice cream and ice cream cones that I know of.
Thank you for watching.
When you think of honey, you likely imagine golden goodness straight from nature, the hardworking bees transforming nectar into a magical substance that sweetens your teas, drizzles over yogurt, or glazes your favorite dessert. But what if I told you not all honey is as pure as it seems? Enter the world of honey fraud, a global issue that's creating a buzz for all the wrong reasons.
Honey fraud happens when the honey you buy isn't 100% what's promised on the label. It might be diluted with cheap syrups such as rice, beet, or corn syrup to stretch profits. Sometimes the honey isn't even made by bees at all, but is a completely artificial concoction. In other cases, it's mislabeled, with companies passing off lower quality honey as premium varieties like Manuka or Acacia. This fraudulent practice not only cheats consumers, but also undercuts honest beekeepers and threatens the livelihoods of small honey producers. And let's not forget the impact on the environment and the bees themselves. It can take 12 bees their entire lifetime to make 1 teaspoon of real honey. Sustainable beekeeping practices take time, effort, and a lot of love for our buzzing friends.
A lot of you have seen this article. 9 out of 10 supermarket honeys are in fact not real honey. And a lot of people don't understand how or why this is happening. So I'm going to give you a guide as to how you make fake honey. So first of all, honey is hard to produce and it is expensive. So honey is expensive. You cannot buy real honey at supermarket prices because it costs us way more than that to produce. So how do you get cheap honey? Well, it's really simple. If you wanted to do it, you go on Alibaba, you buy your designer, probably Chinese, sugar syrup, and on there it will list the honey tests that each designer sugar syrup will pass. Good news for you in the UK, we have the lowest honey test. You can buy the cheapest, absolutely terrible designer sugar syrup. If you mix it with a little bit of real honey, you can now call it honey. You can label it as a blend of EU and non-EU honeys, and that's how you're going to produce it and sell it in the supermarkets. Buy real honey from your local beekeeper.
Fake honey is a much bigger problem than most people realize. Just how bad is it? According to the Food Fraud Database by Discernus, honey is the 3rd most faked food in the world, right after milk and olive oil. The Honey Authenticity Project estimates about 1/3 of all honey sold globally is either fake or tampered with. A 2018 Australian study backed this up, finding around 27% of honey products tested weren't the real deal. They were either counterfeit or loaded with additives. Even the European Union has flagged this as a major issue, reporting as much as 50% of the honey on the market could be fraudulent. Now that's a lot of fake honey. As it turns out, honey fraud isn't just about sneaky syrups, it's also a game of international hide and seek. For years, companies were skirting import duties by taking honey from China, shipping it through third countries, or even faking shipping records to hide its true origin. In 1 year, Malaysia exported a staggering 37 million pounds of honey, despite only having the capacity to produce about 45,000 pounds annually. When the numbers don't add up, you know it's funny honey.
Who doesn't love to eat honey extracted from honeycombs? It's so deliciously sweet. Unfortunately, in the market, we often find adulterated honey being sold as pure, and it's difficult to detect. This fake honey is made by pouring a mixture of sugar and honey-flavored syrup into steel molds. These are left to dry, and when the syrup sets, it takes on the appearance of a honeycomb. After that, the fake honeycomb is removed from the mold, cut into pieces, and sold in the market at high prices.
So how do you know if your honey is real? If you scroll through social media, you'll find lots of simple tests you can try at home, but they aren't foolproof. Many fake honey products are designed to mimic the properties of real honey. If you really want to know if your honey is pure, lab testing is the way to go. You need professional tests that analyze things like pollen content or chemical signatures. Advanced techniques like NMR, which stands for Nuclear Magnetic Resonance Spectroscopy, can pinpoint the exact chemical makeup of honey, revealing if it's been diluted with other sugars or if it truly comes from the claimed source. While these tests are expensive and require specialized equipment, they provide the most reliable way to confirm if your honey is the real deal.
When you're shopping for honey, there are a few things to look for on the label to make sure you're getting the real deal. Start by checking for phrases like 100% pure honey or raw honey, which usually means the honey hasn't been watered down or mixed with other ingredients. You might also spot the True Source Certified label, which means the honey's origin has been verified through third-party checks. Labels like local or from a specific region can also be a good sign, but just be aware these aren't always strictly regulated. And if you come across honey that's suspiciously cheap or doesn't list where it's from, it might be a red flag for being fake or mixed with other ingredients.
UNN Field Messengers Paul and Irene share an inspiring initiative where surplus pumpkins, usually discarded after seed harvesting, are turned into soup for those in need. These efforts support communities while reducing food waste.
Irene and Paul, Field Messengers for United Network News. Here at the Organic Farming Trail, we'll invite you to join us in Project Pumpalicious.
Here we are with part of the harvest of pumpkins here in the polder, Noordoostpolder in Holland. And now we're proud to have saved this harvest this year, because other years all this harvest was being destructed, and that is because they only function as a way to get the new seeds for reproducing pumpkins again year after year. So these are the male pumpkins, and in this situation, and that's every year, they're just material that's not used. And now this year, for the first time, we're proud to say that these pumpkins are being used to make soup for people who don't have enough to eat, and so they can have it. And we don't need to sell it, but we need to use it. That's why we do this.
Homemade pasta might be simpler to make than you imagine. UNN Field Messenger Amy shares an easy, step-by-step recipe for making pasta from scratch using just flour, eggs, and a few basic ingredients.
Hi, Field Messenger Amy reporting for UNN from Mount Tabor, New Jersey. And today you can see I have my pearls on, so we are in the kitchen. And today we're going to make homemade pasta. I don't even have a pasta machine, so everything is going to be done completely by hand. Making pasta is quite easy. All you need is 2.5 cups of flour, and then what you're going to do is put a little well in the middle. You can need 4 eggs. I prefer to put my eggs in a bowl first, so in case I get any shells, I can pull them out. You also need a little bit of salt. So we're going to whisk it all up. Okay, we have the whole. We're going to put our 4 eggs in there. And I like to add just a little bit of olive oil. And then we're going to whisk the eggs. We're going to start pulling in some of the flour from the sides and the bottom. Pulling it in from the sides and the bottom, a little bit of flour at a time. As the dough gets a little thicker, it's all going to stick inside the whisk, so I just switched to just using my hands. And just for my hands right now, because you can see the dough is sticking to it, I'm just going to need a little bit more in my hands. And you can just put it in the bowl, the extra. Press it down so it's flat. Okay, so we press it so it's flat, and then you're going to fold it over itself. And we're going to keep doing that. So you press it flat, and you fold it over itself. Once it comes together, you want to put it on the countertop and work with it there. Continue to flatten and fold. This is the that I didn't take up in the bowl. This got thick enough, so I didn't use all the flour that was in there. So I'm just going to use the extra dough to flour my countertop so that this doesn't stick to it. And we're just going to flatten it and continue to fold it. We'll know when it's ready to start kneading if you take a peri knife and if you cut into this, and if you see a lot of air bubbles, then you know you need to keep going. All right, now you can see it's making a nice ball, and I cut into it and there's like no air bubbles in there. So now we're ready to start kneading it. So once we're done kneading it, we're going to let it rest for at least 30 minutes. So I'm just going to put it, my nice little ball, in my bowl, and I'm just going to let it rest for maybe an hour. So we're going to take it out. You always want to flour everything. So I'm going to just flour this so it doesn't stick. I'm going to cut this into four equal parts. Now you want to dust the parts we're not going to work with first with flour so it doesn't stick to the bowl. So I'm just going to let them sit in the bowl. And this is going to sit until we're ready to work with them. And then we're going to roll this to the desired thickness. If it starts to stick to the rolling pin or to the counter, you just start throwing more flour down. Okay, so I've rolled this to the desired thickness, and I'm just going to cut this into the desired width that I would like. And I'm just going to put these strips over to dry until I'm ready to cook these later today. And there you have it. Very easy to make homemade pasta. So right now I'm cooking some up for 5 minutes in boiling water with a little salt added to it. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Placenta in health and beauty products might not be the first thing that comes to your mind, yet it's a growing trend. Some find it fascinating, others are totally weirded out, and some are all in, ready to try anything placenta related. But the real question is, does using placenta in health and beauty products actually offer any benefits?
Placental extracts have been used in cosmetics since 1950. Rich in vitamins and nutrients, placenta-based products claim to nourish the skin, improving overall health and reducing dullness. They are often promoted for their anti-aging benefits, improving skin elasticity, boosting hydration, making the skin firmer and more toned, while aiding cellular renewal for smoother texture. Another method of using placenta extract in skincare is through injections or intravenous therapy. It might sound a bit unusual, but it's getting attention for its ability to deliver nutrients and benefits directly to the skin on a deeper level. But while placenta-based products sound impressive, the science backing these claims is weak or unclear. Results can vary a lot from person to person. Your skin type, age, and the product's formula all make a difference. It's also important to consider potential side effects and where these products come from. Some people may feel uneasy about how placental extracts are sourced, so it's a good idea to check the brand's practices and choose one that aligns with your values.
Is there anything out there like this right now?
No, though there's nothing out there. There are products that claim to have placenta material or stem cells, but just for educating people, a lot of times they are placental mimicked materials. So the placenta has a bunch of growth factors and a bunch of different components that are great for regeneration and skincare, but they're not actually naturally sourced.
A practice that has also gained attention in recent years is consuming the placenta after giving birth. This is called placentophagy and is common in animals and practiced by some people who consume it cooked, raw, or in pill form. Placentophagy became popular in the 1970s and has been hyped up in recent years by celebrities and influencers claiming health benefits. Some people believe eating the placenta helps with recovery after childbirth, boosting energy, increasing milk supply, reducing pain, and balancing hormones to prevent postpartum depression and insomnia. However, these claims haven't been proven, and studies show no clear benefits. Placentas can also be processed into medicinal products, which are already used in the U.S. and other countries for drug testing, disease research, and wound care. Clinical trials are exploring more uses, including treatments such as arthritis, autism, and others. In many hospitals, mothers are often approached for consent to donate their placenta.
Placental donation is a program that patients can participate in if they're going to be delivering by C-section. So typically, if a patient is interested in donating, the nurse is going to ask them, and if they are, a cord blood nurse is going to come talk to them, go over some paperwork, talk about consents, and then draw some extra labs. Most of the time that can be done with the IV start, though, so it's not an extra step for mom.
All right. And is any mom eligible to do this? And is it free to the mom, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's absolutely free. There are some requirements. One of them is that the mom has to be delivering by C-section because the placenta needs to be obtained in a sterile manner. They need to be over 34 weeks pregnant with only one baby, so no twins or triplets, and no infectious diseases.
Okay, and are you finding, I mean, is this a pretty popular program?
Yeah, absolutely. People really love the chance to help others, you know. It's something that I want everyone to know. This doesn't change anything about your delivery at all. So after the baby is delivered, the doctor will also deliver the placenta, hand it off to the cord blood nurse. So it's not changing anything. It's something that might typically just be thrown in the medical trash or medical waste that has the potential to save someone else's life.
And if you are the person who is receiving this, what are the potential benefits?
The potential benefits are healing and regeneration of the cells. So typical patients that receive a placental patch might be diabetic ulcers, burn victims. It can even be used in the face and the eyes.
Hospitals often treat placentas as medical waste under biohazard laws and don't often share what happens to them after birth, as it's a personal medical decision. The use of placentas in research, cosmetics, or pharmaceuticals has raised the idea that placentas can be sold. In some UK hospitals, mothers can donate their placentas, which are then used to extract proteins for labs. Sometimes donors can receive a small thank you donation in return. However, in most of the countries, selling the placenta is illegal, regardless of the intended purpose.
How much is your placenta worth? Do you know people eat these things? Turns out this is a $50,000 meal because that's what a placenta is worth. But you can't sell it because that's illegal in the United States. But if you Google it, there's a clear value placed on placentas, $50,000. So what gives? Well, you can donate your placenta. And then that organization that you donated it to can turn around and sell it to a medical institution, usually in the neighborhood of $50,000, which would be nice for you to have pocketed when that bill for birthing your baby shows up at your doorstep.
Whether in skincare, medicine, or even as a personal choice after childbirth, the use of placenta sparks a lot of curiosity and debate. While some believe in its benefits, the science isn't always clear, and opinions are divided. If you're considering placenta-based products or practices, make sure to do your research, understand the sourcing, and decide what feels right for you.
UNN is changing the face of news. Join us for our weekly Field Messenger meetings and learn how you can make a difference. Visit unitednetwork.earth for more information. Thanks for watching.